Welcome to Mixed Media Creations with me, Creative Katie, Karen Burchell. Today I'm going to complete a series of ATCs, and I'll be sharing with you the thoughts and the process I go through in auditioning focal points and sentiments. You can watch how I create this background by clicking on the link in the iCard above. So here are the ATCs as I left them at the end of the last video. And here is a sneak peek of the finished ATCs. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and you can see what I'm up to and little studio clips on a day-to-day basis. Hit the subscribe button by clicking the link in the lower right-hand corner. Don't forget to share this video with your friends. Hi everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Burchell. Today I am finishing or getting ready to finish these ATCs. These ATCs were made in a previous video, and I will put the link to that video. But basically what I did was use things from junk mail to create this card. So it's on the back of a flyer that we had, and I have the colors, and it's just little bits and bobs of things in there. So it's definitely a color palette that's very different from what I normally use. And what I've been doing is I went through my various bits and bobs and stuff. I have these plastic bags. I have this one's leaves, this one's hearts and shapes. We got ones that sea stuff. We have one that's flowers, butterflies, and I just pulled things that I thought might go on here because of the color scheme, the shapes, the sizes. I've got some die cuts from my Silhouette machine here. I have, again, this is from the Silhouette machine. Now I wouldn't use the green color per se, but I could paint it another color and put that in there. I have, these tickets with the word love in them. Don't even know where I got them, but the colors are perfect on there. I have, little fairy stickers that have that peach tone in there. Little flowers that I've cut. Flowers that I've kind of painted that could be finished, that fit that color scheme. Stamped images, butterflies, dragonflies, and the like. I've got some, again, butterflies. Some Angry Birds. I've got a whole bunch of Angry Birds here, or Angry Birds, Crazy Birds, and the Crazy Cats. That would make a nice focal point on there. I bought these stickers from the dollar store a long time ago in that tag board, but it kind of, if you look, it really matches that color, so I figure this might be a perfect place to use them because I haven't used them. Also pulled out some of the sentiments that I stamped on the backs of the envelopes, as well as other ones that are on shiny stick-on stickers that I pulled off. So I'm just going to get this organized, and we are going to try out some of these, and I will, as much as possible, give you, what's going on in my head, why I'm going to choose or what I'm going to choose. Not that there's any right or wrong. You may be at the other end watching this and going, I love that, why didn't you use that? And you know what, let me know if that's the case, because, different viewpoints and stuff. So I'm just going to get this organized, and I'll be... So primarily we have three colors. We have kind of this orange corally color, we have the blue, and we have kind of this, it was antique because that was like pattern paper and coffee stained doilies that have that kind of beigey kind of color in there. So those are the three colors. So when I'm looking at that, you know, I'm thinking, okay, that definitely is going to go in there because it just so totally goes in there completely. It just matches that color that's in that background. Now, if I put a heart on it or something like that, I don't know if that's going to be the combination, but I'll leave that for now. Let's just try some of these other things and I'll tell you kind of what's in my head and whether I like it or not. And we have that butterfly, and it's just definitely the right color, but I'm thinking that, you know, the background is pretty busy and this butterfly with all its designs is a little too busy for me as well. Now, if we have just kind of a silhouette, I like that one a little bit better, although not really going for that either. I'm thinking, you know, we have this butterfly and it's got a little bit of that coral and it's got blue on it as well as black, which I have, you know, stamped. I like how the dots that I have stamped here kind of go with the dots on there. So I'm thinking that one's going to come into play. Whether it's going to be on this ATC or I'm going to move it to this one, you know, there's going to be some flipping around. Now this flower, again, I mean, it could go, but you know, I'm not thinking it's a good enough match. Now we have this fairy. This again came from the dollar store. If you put that on there, it's kind of the right color. Zoom out a little bit. It could go, especially if I fussy cut right around it and did some shading around black. So that's a possibility. So I'm just going to leave that here as a possibility. Now I have these flowers. This was scrapbook paper, and they had these beautiful flowers, and it's so perfect. You know, I'm really liking that, and I like the bling that's on there. So again, I think whether we put that whole one, whether I fussy cut that one or not, I don't know. So that's a possibility. There's a butterfly. Now I like that one better. It seems to stand out, that orange color. Let's go with that. We have this other butterfly. Now it's this shiny material, but it's kind of got that brown tone in it. That's a possibility. Now I have this, it's kind of signposts. And again, it kind of has that color, or I could definitely make this a little bit more gold, and that could go on there. So we're, you know, eliminating some. Now, as I showed you before, I have a whole bunch of the crazy birds stamped out, and as well as the crazy cats. But I had one here that is even partially cut out that happened to have been that color, you know, and I really like that, you know. And with these crazy birds, I'm thinking, you know, saying like, don't worry, be happy. So I'm kind of really liking that one. So I think that might be a definite go in there. I've got these that are on kind of tagboard. Now I could color that. I've got that flower. Oops, let me see. I've got that flower. I've got that one. I've got other ones, you know, those kind of folded flowers out of gel prints. None of these are really grabbing me. I'm just going to put those aside for now. I've got, ooh, I like that butterfly. That's big and bold. And if you look, it's got a little bit of the brown in it. And this really plays off of the orange. So that's a definite maybe in there. Now that could go, well, let's put that in a, maybe. kind of liking that. So that's a possibility. Now we have this. This was cut. I made a stencil using a silhouette cut file and my silhouette, and this was kind of the discarded part, but I kept it because I'm thinking, you know, that just might be usable on here, but I wouldn't keep it green. And this one has kind of a dead space right here. It's not particularly interesting, so I mean, I might put the butterfly. I would definitely put something right there. And remember, I can turn these cards. I can go this way, orientation, or this way. You know, you can turn them however to get the most interesting effect. But if I did that, so, you know what, we're going to paint one of these black and maybe a different color, and then we're gonna be able to see. This green is really throwing me off, so I'm just gonna take some time and paint it black. If it doesn't work for this one, it just goes back in my stash and it'll be perfect for another project. Okay, so I did some fussy cutting here and I painted these, so I'm not sure. I did one in black. We put the, it just seems a little too faded. I think we're going to just put her back on here and save her for another day now that she's all fussy cutted and everything. I also have these that are in various colors. I tend to use them a lot though, so you know, let's just I kind of like that because it brings out, it's not exactly, it's got the, it matches the gold that's there. You know, I'm surprised. I like the look. Then I found this, which just again happens to be the perfect color. Do we put the butterfly on top? You know, we have a couple with butterflies, so let's just say no to the butterfly. Oh, we could do this. Oh, you know what? I kind of like that. Shade around that, and I'm gonna just leave that right there. Okay, so we like that one, we like that one. We have, now, let's see, you know, we have an assortment of cutouts, and I can color that, paint that any color, but you know what, I don't, you know, that would look nice, but I don't want to start coloring. So we're coming along. We've got a few decisions. I think we mostly have the focal points. You know what, I'm going to save this full flower. This little one works quite well. We're going to put that up there. Now what? You know what? I think that with some shading. Okay, that would work. You know what? I like that. Now this one. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm so happy to be using these. You know, those. You know what? That's perfect. Now this butterfly. Nope. So now that I've decided on focal images and sentiments for each of the ATCs, I'm going to first do some fussy cutting on this crazy bird. And this is what I typically do for the finer cuttings. Instead of using little scissors, I just get out my X-Acto board, X-Acto knife and cutting board, and do as you see me doing here. I really don't like fussing with the fussy cutting at all, so this is a good option for me. So I'm just grabbing my gel medium and I am going to glue down the sentiments and the focal points on here and give, you know, a coat of the gel medium, which is matte finish, on each card. And I seem to have a problem lining things up and putting sentiments straight today. And staying completely in focus with this. Liking how I added some splatters of gold to this one, so that because it was in the flower and I wanted to work on that a little bit more, build it up a little bit more. So here you see me sprinkling it, and I did use some of that gold on other of the ATCs as well. But you can see how the shimmer on this 3D embellishment just works really well with that gold in the background. Or you could if it would be totally on screen. So they're looking really good as they are. Everything's glued down and dried. And now what I'm going to do, you know, I'm not happy with this sentiment. All the others are tan. I actually took off one of the other ones, that one that said BU, and I put one of those tag colored ones. And I'm going to make this one tag colored. Now if I paint it right over top of it, the paint would kind of block the lettering. So instead of doing it on white paper and painting it after I stamp, I'm painting it first and then stamping with archival ink. And look at how closely that matched. This is Trail Tan, and it's a Sremco paint. So I'm just so thrilled with that. Now that this is a whole set, it just kind of works together so well. And there really isn't a whole lot of white on these. So I'm just adding a little bit of black around the edges. I had some earlier, but it just didn't seem to be enough. And after giving this a bit of a dry, I am starting to shade around some of the focal points. Now you can use your liner pen, you can use your Stabilo or a watercolor pencil or a charcoal pencil. Mostly what you're seeing me doing here is using the Stabilo all pencil. And later at the end of the video, you're going to be able to see each of these cards before I did any shading and finishing stuff on them, and after. And you can see the difference that that makes. So I'm just going around with the Stabilo and then activating with a small round brush in water. And I just wet it and I kind of pull out the black a little bit so it's kind of shading around it. Now I wanted to bring out some of the texture and the texture paste that I added. And I try a couple times here. In the end, I just didn't like what it looked like, so I decided that the texture is just going to take a back seat. Now here, this wasn't perfectly sealed and some of the black seeped under the flower. So to get rid of that, I just used a little bit of that coral paint. Here I'm using my fine liner and just adding, re-emphasizing the black outlines of this crazy bird. And then shading around it. Now I grabbed my woodless charcoal pencil, and I'll put a link to it and any specialized things in the description box. And I like the smudge look that this gives. It's also dry, so I definitely did it on this tissue paper thing, because if I had used any wet medium, it would definitely soak into that tissue paper. Then I decided to outline each and every one of these cards with kind of a sketchy line. I also outlined the sentiments. You'll see up close in the final details what they look like. But this really framed the ATC. I wish I could work this fast in real life. So here you see the ATCs before finishing was done, and then all of them after. And what's going to come now is each separate one, a before and after shot. Do you see how it just makes the focal point and the sentiment stand out from the background? While it's nice before, after, it just seems to pop and everything kind of blends together a little bit more. Before and after. Now again, that is a personal choice. If you like it before better, then that's where you will stop. There you can see the shading, how much that shading behind it just makes it pop. I painted the backs of all of these just black, and I think I might turn these into fridge magnets, little mini mixed media pieces. Thank you for joining me. Like, share, and comment about the video. Which one's your favorite? Let me know.